All right, we're continuing on with a part 3 because I'm telling you how to save money and I'm telling you how to give you tips on your craft room, what to do as far as setting up your craft room and where to go to find the best bargains to do your craft room. Don't go to any of these majorly expensive stores and buy baskets that match or little plastic bins that match and that you're gonna want to put little tags on the front of your plastic. This goes here, that goes there, because once you start crafting, the stuff flies and you never know where, the tags don't matter. And I wouldn't want to sit around at the end of a crafting day or crafting hour and make sure everything goes back in its particular spot so I can find it next time. It's such a bunch of baloney. In my world it is. I don't mean to put down those that are more organized or maybe even OCD about organization. But it's just not for me, okay? Let's move on. Okay, so we told you about that rack, by the way, cost me 75 cents. I just use it, like I said, to hang my eggs on. We've talked about the books. We've talked about the homespun candy canes. We've talked about the smaller candy canes, what I paid for those and what you should charge, what I charge for them, actually. Here's some signs. Let's get into my primitive signs. Where did I find this wood? In my yard, okay? I happen to live on 5 acres. I don't know if you can see it. And my neighbors also live on acreage, and if they find a piece of wood, they give it to me or I ask them for it. And all of this wood, except for maybe 2 of them, those 2 with the edges that are cut out, I did get those for $3 each that had different sayings on them at another antique shop. But I redid them to say fresh eggs, hen house. One says antiques, one says America, one is a country scene. Painted country scene. One says I love cats, one says I love dogs, one is just a little hen sign there. And I was going to make signs, more signs for the craft show, and just do, actually, my original thought was to just do signs, but you know what? I opted out of that because here's the practicality problem, okay? You can't carry them all, okay? Now I have a van, but wood is heavy. And especially when they're going to be different sizes, it's a bulky situation, and it's just not cool, for me anyway, being an elderly person, to be lugging big boxes of very, very heavy signs back and forth to a craft show. So I did a few of them. I'm done. I'm kind of finished with the signs. I mean, unless something comes up where I could make more signs and do it on a stricter budget. I also wanted to touch on one other thing. The small candy canes, the homespun candy canes, the material that I use for them. All of this material, it looks homespun, right? Well clad. I went to the thrift store and the thrift store and I bought men's shirts, men's size shirts, the biggest shirts I could find. And I got the shirts, I think for 75 cents a piece or $1 a piece, and I can cut up each shirt into these strips, and they're about 1 inch by maybe 12 inches, this particular piece. I cut the arms and then cut the arms in half at the seam and open them up so I can make good size strips. As long as you've got something that anywhere between a 6-inch strip and up, you're good to go. And a whole shirt can probably cover about 20 of those candy canes, if not more. And so 75 cents worth of material, what? How much per can? 981 candy canes divided by $26 that it cost me for them. Duh. I don't even know. As a matter of fact, I actually won all of those candy canes for 99 cents, but it cost me $26 in shipping. So $27 basically was my total on 980 candy canes. Still, at $1/4 a piece. If I make $100 in the end, if I just charge enough to make $100 in the end, and I only spent $27, don't you think it's worth it? So why go overboard and tell people that you're charging $2 or $2.50 for your homespun candy cane? Okay? Why? Because of the time you put in it? Because you added a little button? Because of, the glue you used? You just can't add all that stuff up, you drive yourself mathematically crazy if you add every little thing up that you use and try to price an item. Look, the glue, you're always going to have hot glue and a hot glue gun in your craft space. You're always going to have acrylic paints of some kind, okay? Just charge for what the materials are, you know? And even then, okay, $26, $27 in candy canes and, I don't know, maybe 10 shirts at 75 cents each. You know, can you still make money in the end charging a quarter and 5 for a dollar for these things? Yes, you can. But the idea is you can't charge for your time. You cannot charge for your passion. Therefore, you're only going to be hurting yourself financially if you try to do that. The payment that comes from the time and the passion is the relaxation that you get and the enjoyability you get from doing your craft, period. Don't try to do anything different than that. Sewing machine, got it for $50 on sale at Walmart. And I live in Florida now, just moved here a few months ago. I used to live in Kentucky. In Kentucky, the sewing machine I had was $5 from a yard sale. Perfect, worked perfect, loved it, couldn't lug it here with me. So I wanted a new sewing machine. I bought a new one this time. I went all out and spent $50. But I do like to sew. And every now and then I might want to sew and make a stuffed bear. Or I might want to, you know, just to sew little ornaments out of chenille. Okay? I used to make curtains sets for cats that go to cat shows, and those pretty curtain sets that they put on the cages. But I couldn't bring my cage with me for display. So, and for me to measure and all of that to see what I need to do. I have the measurements, but I like to take pictures of it afterwards on the actual cage. And I don't have a cage, and they're very difficult to come by. You have to buy them at a craft show, and if the people that are running the craft show will actually sell it to you. And I happen to get one for very good money, only $25 for it in Kentucky. And down here, they were kind of squabbling at the 25, and I really don't want to go higher than that. I don't make the curtains often enough. So, anyway, there's my sewing machine. And why is it sitting on the floor like that? Because that's where I sit. And when I want to sew, I just turn around and I grab that machine and put it right up on my desk. That's how easy it is, okay? I'm not going to put, you know, I put the cover is off of it right now because I have been sewing recently. But of course I keep it covered and in its case behind there. But when I know I'm going to have a sewing day, I keep it out and right at my side, already plugged in, the step thing right there, so that I can just shove that under the desk with my foot when I'm ready to sew. Grab that, already strung up, put it on my table, bring out my little chenille snowman setups to start sewing, and just go at it. Quick, easy, fun, no mess, no fuss, no muss. I do what I want to do when I want to do it. Okay, let's move on to some more essentials on part 4.